everybody, and thanks for joining me today. So I am working on more tail feathers. Yeah, I think I'll be working on those for the rest of this month. There's a little bit of purple flowers on the very far right-hand side of this pass, but I don't think I'm going to get to them this month. I've actually got farther than I thought I would, so yeah, I'm happy. I'm about to cross over 203,000 total, and I thought that's sort of where I would get for the entire month. So yeah, bonus. Because I think I still have 2 more sessions after this one. So yeah, I will get further than that. I might even reach 66%, which I said was potentially possible but unlikely, but well, it's starting to look more likely because that is 204,600 stitches. Yeah. And so, yeah, that leaves me with less than 2,000 stitches to get there. So I'm thinking that may actually happen. That would be pretty cool. So yeah, I had an eye motif, and then there's sort of pardon me, the orange part of the feathers kind of fanning out from it. And so I'm working on that part right now. Yeah. So yeah, I've got kind of a weird little shape here, but I'm gonna be smoothing it out today and then working along it in sort of strips coming out from this left-hand edge as per usual. Oops. If I could put this into the correct mode, that is. So yeah, just kind of working and building my way up, which makes for some funny shapes sometimes, but that's okay. Yeah, it's been a colorful area, but I find that there has been more blocks of color than I expected. I expected this to be much more confetti heavy, but I find, yeah, like I said, it's more like almost a striping pattern, and so I don't have to change colors as often, which means things can go a little quicker. All right, just double checking because I have 2 indentations here and I want to make sure I'm working in the correct one. Yeah, that could be a big mix-up. Yeah, so it did drop some snow on us, about 6 inches. It was pretty fine and powdery though, not heavy wet snow, so yeah, not as hard to move. It was enough for my husband to pull out the snowblower, but yeah. However, they're saying the next week is supposed to be nice and warm, well above freezing, so it should all melt off pretty soon. So yeah, it would be nice if this was truly spring, but I'm not going to count on it yet because, yeah, for us it is still too early in the year. So that was second winter. We usually have about 4. Yeah, we get a little reprieve in between, and then just when you think maybe it's really spring for real this time, nope, here comes a bunch more snow. So it would be nice if I was wrong, because we had a very late start to the winter this year. It was like mid-November before we had any snow. So I sure wouldn't mind if spring was a little earlier, but yeah. I've been out here, oh sheesh now. This summer will be 20 years now in Alberta. Yeah, we came out here in 2004. That first winter was brutal. It got down to minus 50 Celsius, which, yeah, minus 40 is the same for Celsius and Fahrenheit. So to give you an idea, yeah. My husband didn't believe it was that cold. He thought the thermometer broke. It wasn't a mercury one. It was one that looked like a dial, and it would sort of turn, and he thought it was broken, but it wasn't. And he went to clear some snow off of our back porch, and I told him, wrap up like just your eyes showing. And he's like, no, I'll be fine. I said, no, it's way too cold. You can get frostbite in less than 30 seconds in this cold. And he didn't believe me. He went out and yeah, he got frostbite. Not quite frostbite, but like they call it frost nip, which is like the precursor to it. It's like getting like a 2nd degree burn versus a 3rd degree kind of thing. Yeah. And they came, oh my gosh, my ears are hurting. They're white. And I said, well, I told you to wrap a scarf around your head. Because yeah, my parents lived way up north in BC when they were first married in Prince George. And yeah, like my dad said, he had a full beard back then for a little more protection, and he would have to wrap a scarf around it. And he said sometimes he would come home and it would take like a few minutes of thawing before he could actually remove it from his face because it had frozen to his beard. Yeah, just nuts. Oh, yeah. I remember the doors on the cars freezing shut and stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah, because it's humid there. I said we're kind of lucky here on the prairies. It's drier, and yeah, so it doesn't feel quite as cold, and it doesn't generally freeze the doors shut. But yeah, I've had a couple of times. I had after I was rear-ended, and so I was driving a rental car, and yeah, the door froze so bad that it couldn't get it open at all. And my husband had to pop the back hatch and climb through and push it open from the inside. Because, yeah, I was afraid to pull too hard on the handle because I was afraid it would come right off. And, yeah, did not want that to happen, so... Alright, so... yeah, I kind of do a combination. The color's mostly going this way, but within it, sometimes it kind of stripes that way, and I kind of do both in a way. You'll see what I mean as I keep stitching. So yeah, I'm past 203. Like I said, I started at 195,000 and like 100 something. So my estimate is about 8,000 a month lately, but yeah, if I get more this month, well, bonus. Yeah, I would have to get, I believe, over 10,000. No, actually more than that. Yeah, it'd be more like 11 or even 12,000 for the next months if I was to finish this before the end of 2025. So yeah, I don't think that is going to happen. If it does, that'd be great, but yeah, I don't see that happening. Oh, pardon me. I believe each pass across is 33,000 stitches, I think. I did the math a while ago and I don't remember what it was, but yeah, something like that. So it's been like 3.5 months kind of per, so. And as I have 3 more after this, yeah. Oh dear. Well, that is no good. Let's try that again. This is a shorter one, so easier to pull a short one out, I find. Yeah, although I kind of like it's a little overcast today. Yeah, when it's really snowy outside, I don't like when it's too bright sun because it gets very blinding. Yeah, it kind of sucks because, like I say, I stitch upstairs in front of my big living room window because I like the natural light. And unfortunately, when it's really snowy and really sunny, it gets so blinding I have to basically leave the drapes closed, which I don't like to do. Something felt off back there. Oh, gee. Yeah, Oh, man. Oh, I just realized, yeah, there's a loop here. Oh, for Pete's sake. Okay. Let's see how far I can. Yeah, I don't know how that happened. There isn't even a knot in it. I don't know how that got like that. Yeah, okay, you're not gonna... Yeah, it's been snagged by others. Okay, that's okay. I can still fix this. So pull it out here where it was smooth. Yeah, because I don't feel like ripping that all back. That takes too much time. So, I'll fix it. I did a little tutorial about this years back, but there is a way to fix it from the front that does not require ripping it out. So take a scrap piece of thread and thread it through that loose loop. Oops, there we go. Oh, pulled the wrong way, my gosh. I do know what I'm doing, but you know how it is when you try to show somebody, right? It never wants to cooperate. Yeah. Okay, so through that loop. And then thread both strands through as if you were doing a loop start. And then you have the loop caught on it. Make sure it's not twisted. Go back down where it came up and pull it to the back, pull it taut, and then just tie it off. Ooh, actually a little further than that because apparently that loop is longer than I thought. Yeah, so you could either thread it through the back or you can pin stitch it a ways away and then it will get stitched over and covered up. There we go. So just feeling that it's smooth. Could even duck your head underneath and just make sure that it's pulled that nice and taut. There we go. Like that, as if you were tying off any piece of thread. Yeah. Now it is nice and smooth and taut. That will get stitched over and it will be nice and secure. You will never be able to pull it out again. Trust me, because I tried. Yeah, I had a thread one time that was so long it looped around the back and I stitched over it. There was no picking it out of those stitches. I had to cut it. Yeah. There we go. Yeah, so I don't know how I managed to do that, but yeah. Otherwise, that would have involved ripping out these other stitches that had stitched through it, and well, that's just not good, right? Nobody wants to rip it out. So yeah, it makes the back slightly less neat, but I don't really care. Like I often say, if there's no lumps that will interfere with the finishing, then I don't really care that much. Okay, taking a look here. All right, it's a little ways away, but close enough. So I'm going to tack it in the middle here. When I have a long carry, I'll kind of tack it down like that. That way it doesn't get pulled loose. And again, it gets stitched over, which keeps everything secure. And again, yeah, you may choose to do it differently if you care more about keeping the back neater. Totally up to you. Yeah, I often say my backs are not the neatest, but they're not the messiest either, so I'm happy. Yeah, there are some I've seen where people have done where it looks like a mirror image on the back, which is just incredible. Yeah, they are way more talented than I am and probably have way more patience. Yeah. I only have so much. Yeah, so my husband is out of town traveling for work, but he promised he's going to be back in time for kiddo's 18th birthday, because that's a big one, right? Yeah. remember when I turned 30, my dad, you know, phoned me and said, oh my gosh, how is my firstborn 30, you know? Yeah. He said, like, when you get to a certain age as an adult, you kind of don't really count the years of how much older you're getting. You just realize how old you are by how old your kids are, and maybe your grandkids if you've got them too. Yeah, it was my grandma's 91st birthday last year. And yeah, we were talking. I said, yeah, and your first great grandchild is, you know, driving now. Yeah. Oh, got a end coming up here. Yeah, I saw a meme that said, you know, inside of every old person is a young person wondering how the heck that happened. Well, yeah, it's like I said in my head. My parents remain like, you know, 40s, 50s, and it's like, but they can't be because I'm 40s, you know? So yeah, under 1600 stitches to get to 2/3 done, and it may happen. We will see. Yeah. Well, I always like when I underestimate and then get further than I thought. That's always nice. Yeah. Well, things have been uneven because, like, I had a month I only managed about 4,000 because, yeah, that was the time we were renovating, so. Yeah, there's more stuff we want to do eventually, but this was sort of the big one we've been wanting to do for a long time, so. Because, yeah, our carpet literally had holes in it. It was so old. And it was this weird sort of hook and loop stuff so that if a fiber worked loose, it would pull like you were pulling on a knitted sweater, right? It would just, yeah, start to unravel completely. And my son made the first one by accident. There was a fluff sticking up and he pulled on it and it made a little hole in the carpet, and then he stuck some duct tape over it. He was like 6 or something, and he said, yeah, don't worry, Mom, I fixed it. And I posted a picture on my Facebook. My uncle's like, oh yeah, barely noticeable, great job. Oh gosh, yeah, I remember seeing videos of kids fixing things they broke, you know, in quotes. And there was one where the little girl cut apart her mother's sewing tape measure. Because, I mean, the little inch lines, they look like perfect, you know, cut here lines. And then she was trying to tape it back together. And her dad kind of like, honey, that's not going to work. Oh, the most painful one I saw was when the kid said, oh, I cut out the picture of the Queen. And it was some British money. And yes, they cut the Queen out of the pound note. Like, no. And it was a bigger one too. It was like a 50-pound note or something. It was like, no. Because, yeah, it's destroyed. Yeah, when I was younger, they weren't as good about replacing currency when it was worn, I found. Yeah, when I was working at the food court, we were, for the first year, we were only cash. So I handled a lot of cash, and yeah, there were a lot of pieces that were really torn and beaten up and weren't taken out of circulation. I don't know though. I guess people don't use cash as much either, right? Yeah. I mean, now the idea of being a store in the mall that is a cash-only business is just unthinkable, right? Yeah. But this was 1999 when I first started working there. Yeah. Yeah, we finally got a debit machine after I'd been there for like a year. And they wouldn't put up a sign either, so people would get to the end and then find out, and they didn't have cash, and so they just have to abandon their meal right there, which was kind of a pain. Yeah. Oh, I was always so annoyed too because I asked if we could put a sign that says start here like they do at Subway, because people would always try to barge in where the till was, and we'd have to tell them, no, you got to go to the end and get your food first, and then you come through and pay. And yeah. But yeah, it was one of those, it was a big chain, and so you couldn't do things for, like, unless corporate said. And corporate didn't really care because they weren't the ones working on the front, having to have people mad at them, right? So, yeah. So yeah, like I said, it kind of goes this way, but sometimes within it, it kind of stripes the other way. And so like I said, I kind of work both at once. There. Yeah, sometimes with my left hand, I have a harder time. No, that still doesn't look right. It can be harder when the hole is full of all the other threads, and this is the last one to go down. Yeah, to go through it. That's better. The leg looked slightly too long before, so it probably went on the other side of the threads instead of next to them. It kind of went over. Yeah, and I did not like how that looked, so. Okay. Not much left of this thread, but I will just park it there anyway. It's good enough for one more stitch. I'll always try to get that last stitch out of it. Okay, so yet another stripe coming down. So yeah, like I said, this is why I'm following it rather than working the other way, because otherwise I'd be picking up and dropping colors a lot more if I was continuing to work my old way. And it would slow me down a lot more. So yeah, this way I can follow the curve, and then with this color I can do all of these at once. without having to pause in between. So yeah, found that it goes a little faster now. As this is all 1 stitch wide, I cross as I go. I just find it's a little neater that way. When I'm working sort of big sections back and forth is when I sort of do all the bottom legs and then cross them. So taking kiddo and a bunch of friends out to dinner for his birthday. Yeah, now that he's older. When he was younger, we often did a bounce house for birthday parties. Yeah. The kids loved it, and then you didn't need to organize any games or like anything really. Just in the bounce house. Okay, you guys want some cake? Okay, have some cake. Okay, go back to bouncing. You guys want to open presents? Okay, go back to bouncing. So yeah. Even the adults took part sometimes. Yeah, I had fun. I remember once my sister-in-law had a bounce house for one of her kids' birthdays, and it actually rained the whole day. So she said, well, we're still going to do it because it's not windy, because they have, if there's wind gusts up to a certain point, then you can't have it because of safety reasons. You know, even if it's staked down, there is a chance the wind could pick it up and carry it off, which has happened before to people, and not good. So yeah. But she said, no, it was just rainy and not windy, so they were still allowed to have it. So it was like, okay, well, pack your kid with an extra change of clothes for after they're done. They had a blast. They didn't care. Yeah. Yeah. Or my son's elementary school that he used to go to, they used to have a back-to-school bash every year, about a week before school would start after summer break, and they would have bounce houses and barbecue, and yeah, lots of fun. Yeah, face painting and all sorts of stuff like that, and you get to meet your new teachers and stuff. Yeah. And my school never did anything like that. Well, my schools, we went to lots because we moved a lot. Yeah, I was kind of annoyed with my parents that after we grew up and left, then they stopped moving around. Like, I was so sick of moving. We moved almost every year. I had people say, well, you know, like, was your dad military or something? I was like, no, just would change jobs a lot. Want a new start. Oh, that's no good. Oh, I hate when that happens. It tied a knot in itself. A very tiny one, so. Yeah, I find with 14 count, I can kind of get away with that if it's a really small knot. If it's 18 count, I find I can't really keep stitching with it. So yeah, smoothing this out, and then I'll smooth out the next one. Yeah, so I didn't want that when we had a family. Told my husband I'd like them to be able to go to school with the same kids, make lifelong friends. Okay, so yeah, I can see from looking at the pattern there's going to be sort of a blue bit here. I think it's part of one of the eye motifs peeking out from under another feather, I believe, from looking at the mock-up. Yeah, and then there's sort of like it's peeking out, there's another feather there, and yeah, we're reaching sort of the end of the tail, at least the end of the tail that's in this pass. Yeah, it's still in the last 3 passes because, yeah, I mean, like I said, it's kind of the focal point of the piece is the peacock and his tail. I think I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 9, so almost 10 whole columns left. So yeah, I won't get that this month, but I will definitely finish this pass in the next month and be started on the next one, which will be pass number 7, I believe. Yes, this is pass number 6 out of 9. Not as bad. My firefly piece, I have at least another decade to go. 12 more years, maybe. We'll see. Yeah. I don't think I'm going to ever pick anything that big again. But of course, never say never, right? Yeah. creative juggling here. Generally cross as I go when it's 1 stitch wide, but I actually want my thread to end up back at the top, so this time I won't. How long is that piece up there? I don't think it's very long. Well, it is a bit, but I think I'm actually I'm gonna carry that one out to the right. So yeah, I'll start a new piece down here. Oops. Pulled too hard and unthreaded my needle. And it didn't feel like bending over to fix it from the bottom, so just pulled it back to the top to do it that way. Move those aside for now. Get back to them later. Oops. Okay. It's not right. Yeah, you have to put the needle back precisely where it came up so that the loop pops to the back. There we go. Yeah. I was off by just enough. It was piercing the fabric, so it didn't work. Okay, so we'll start another new piece because I know that one there is just about done. Oh, there it is. I was about to pull out my magnet to check because, yeah. If I drop the needle, it can end up going in to my grime guard, and then later when I take the whole thing apart, the needle will fall out onto the floor, and then, yeah, somebody might be in for a not so nice surprise. I'm usually okay because I wear slippers, but nobody else in my family does, so. Yeah, my feet get cold. Also, I like that I have rubber on the bottom, so I have better grip in them than with my socks. I'm clumsy enough. I don't need to add slipping around to the mix. Yeah, my feet are always cold. Lousy circulation. Yeah, I actually had the doctor check my thyroid because I'm always cold, and he did a full workup of everything, and everything came back normal. It's like, said I kind of was almost hoping there'd be a problem that they could treat, but no. I guess I'm kind of stuck with it. Yeah, I said that was one nice thing when I was pregnant. And circulation is increased, and so the whole time and for a whole year afterwards, I didn't have to wear slippers or anything. My feet were nice and warm, and my hands too. Yeah, like I said, it lasted a whole year after he was born. I thought, oh, this would be nice if this was permanent, but no such luck. Yeah, it went away after that. It's like, darn it. Yeah, the stretch marks are here to stay, right? But yeah, not the fun after effect. Ugh. Yeah, my hair never quite recovered either. Yeah. Like, I know it's normal to lose a lot of hair, and I swear I lost half of mine. Because, yeah, I went from when I make a ponytail being able to wrap the ponytail holder around only twice to being able to wrap it around almost 5 times. So, yeah. And some of it grew back, but yeah, it never fully recovered. I said, good thing I had really thick hair to begin with. Yeah. So it's not really noticeable, but yeah. not have that. So as always, I try not to close any stitches in on all 4 sides. 3 sometimes happens. So yeah, I won't stitch that one because it would close in the stitch next to it, and I don't like doing that, so. Oh man, speaking of knots. Okay, so yeah, now kind of back to all of it being sloping that way. So yeah, I started with 2 kind of funny indentations, and now it's all one curve. Oh, that is no good. There we go. So I think I'll probably cross 200 pretty soon. Which is a pretty good hour's work, approximately. I generally don't keep this pace up all day because I get distracted by my phone notifications and stuff. But yeah, when I'm stitching with you all, I'm kind of just stitching, so. We'll do those as well, and then I can tie that off. So yeah, that loop that I found and smoothed out that I pin stitched over here has now been stitched over, so it is nice and secure, and yeah, nothing's gonna pull that out, not without a big effort. So like I said, the back ends up not being perfectly neat, but I really don't mind that. I care mostly about how the front looks. Yeah, I actually saw somebody in a group I was in on Facebook. They actually had theirs framed so the back was glass too, so you could see the back, because they were quite proud of their back, which I thought was kind of cool. Not something I do, but it was kind of neat. I always take pictures of the back though, because people get curious what it looks like, so. So you can see this piece is getting kind of twisty, so when I pull it through, I'll just kind of drop the needle, let it hang for a couple seconds, and that helps remove any twist. Yeah, they tend to do that when they get to the end. Kind of like a curling ribbon, right? When it's been pulled through the fabric that many times, it kind of wears it down. Oh, look at that, 200 exactly until I hit the check mark. finish these and park it, and that will be a good place to stop. Just double checking with the grid lines as well, that everything is where it's supposed to be. All looks good. 210, a nice round number. So thank you so much for joining me today, and hope to see you here next time. Thanks, everyone.